applied stats and storytelling,
Yeah.
that combination is not coming out of undergraduate universities. I don't think, at least. So I'm just curious, how do we go about kind of bridging those two? Do you guys at BlackRock bring in the analytical talent and then maybe enhance their existing skills with storytelling, or how do you approach that?
You know, what I find, quite honestly, is that we have to do it at the university level, because I feel like data specialists, data experts, these are data engineers, data infrastructure people, data scientists, they typically create a certain identity for themselves. And in the development of that identity, they oftentimes don't see themselves as storytellers. They see themselves as the SME, or the subject matter expert on the analysis or on the tool or on the code, right? And as a result, they end up being number cruncher types who kind of get it, who want to pass it off to someone and then have someone else develop the story. But the reality is the story is so much more powerful when it's done by the person who ran the analysis, because you understand the nuances, the details, the specifics, right? And you're able to tease all of that out and then tell a really powerful story. And sometimes people, when they take on these data roles, they have already inherently defined themselves as something. And as a result, that's actually harder to train. It's harder to teach a data person to tell a story. If I find a storyteller, though, who has adequate data skills, I can teach them Python, right? I can show them how to use Hadoop. And imagine how powerful that is. So I really think it has to start at the university. And so part of, or even younger, you know, this idea that you can be technical and creative and build a story and a solution and design, like that's what it's all about. And it's elevating this whole field of data science into that kind of platform where you're really talking, you know, telling stories through the data in ways that not only you want to illustrate that you're smart, obviously, but you also want people who are sitting and listening to feel emotionally attached, right, to what you're saying. Not that you're just giving them some numbers, but they now want to take the information that you're giving them and go out and activate on it. We want to do something with that. We want to change something. Your story has compelled us, has moved us to want to move the needle on something we're working on, right? And that's the beauty of data science that I think sometimes people miss, because they don't know how to be both, they're creative in their code maybe, but they don't know how to translate that to more of this more storyteller, emotional access type of intelligence. And that's what I think is missing. And that's why it's so hard to actually find the talent. And when I find someone, I'm like, you know, who can, and especially if they have like financial services knowledge on top of sort of this, the business acumen, the statistical acumen, right? And they can tell a good story. It's just very rewarding.
Great.
Sorry to go on and on.
No, it's great. It kind of goes back to your opening comment about your own background being very interdisciplinary in nature. And I guess I don't want to sell universities short, because I know a lot of them have been investing in these interdisciplinary approaches that can bring kind of the left and right brain together more.
Right.
Analytical storytelling. I think there's a business model there if you ever need a partner.
You think so?
Okay. Yeah. So.
Okay.
All right, Tiffany, standard wrap-up question. Here goes. What's one thing you wish you would have known 3 years ago? I think about the time you started at BlackRock.
Yeah. But what I wish I knew was the way that the confluence of data, of a focus on data and the focus on analytics would murky the waters. And by that, I mean that mandate, because I know now, obviously, having been across financial services, the state of the data in so many spaces in financial services, the CDO role and that data element, like the governance, the aggregation, the regulatory requirements, that's a beast. That's something that you need to solve for in a centralized way within an organization to make data robust, clean, accurate, accessible, make sure it adheres to regulatory requirements. That's unique in that role. But then there's some other space for how you use the data, right? So the analytics that you do on top of the data, the models you build, the analysis you run to actually drive insights from the data, that is also another huge body of work, especially if you're thinking across audience. Like, you want to be able to apply what you learn, not only to the audience that you're thinking about, but to other audiences as well. And then, sort of drive it down through the organization. That's a huge ask. And so I have come to realize now that the CDAO role is not ideal. Really, you want centralized data and you want federated analytics. You want more of a hub and spoke model where you have experts sitting in functions and products being governed or, organized around a central body that helps with best practices and model building and determining which, if you want to use natural language processing or something like that. And so it took me a while to get here. And I would say in the last year I've gotten here. But now I am, because when people hear that you do data's taking on this weird, strange kind of, I don't know, sinister meaning, like data, everybody does data, I don't really know what it means. What I really do are analytics and insights. And yes, I need data to do that. And I need the data to be clean and I need the data to be robust.
Well, Tiffany, thanks so much for joining me today. I thought it was a phenomenal conversation. I learned a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
All of you for watching. Please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews and ahead.com to learn more about my company, Ahead. Tiffany, thanks again. It was great. Have a great day,
Thanks,
everyone.
Tom. Okay, take care.